Thank you. My name is Laminjai, and this is News Review. Coming up today, so Brikama's fire was today took a twist, a new twist today, when a car burst into flames in the middle of the road there near the market there. This came hours after a huge fire ravaged the market there. So we have a report on that. Also, Tourism and Culture Minister Ahmad N.K. Bah, also the leader of the National Reconciliation Party, NRP, speaks exclusively to the Fatu network. Dr. Sise will join me for that fire incident there in his hometown of Brikama. But before all of this, we will do a quick review of the newspapers. I will begin with the Standard. They are reporting that government concern about on civil language at Assembly, that's the National Assembly. Cabinet says date of two-term law discriminates Barrow. Government allays fears that airport might reopen in June. Basically, that is on the front. That's what is on the front pages there. A top government official has tipped the Standard that government is increasingly concerned about the conduct and language of some National Assembly members towards members of the executive during sessions or assembly sessions. Last week, Finance Minister Mamburin Jai faced barrage of criticisms as he defended environment of already approved funds as normal practice acceptable everywhere. Some members who said he should have come back to them as was told with any intention to move funds from their intended purposes, called his actions as fraud and a contempt of the National Assembly. Others threaten penalties for any such act of contempt in the future. However, according to our highly placed sources, that sources of the Standard there in government, the executive is gradually running out of patience. According to the Standard, the Cabinet had wanted the Constitutional Review Commission to remove the section from the draft which, if passed, will bar President Barrow from contesting elections after 2021. According to Section 5 of the schedule, person duly elected President of the Gambia, effective date and serving in office as at the effective date of the new Constitution shall be the first President of the Third Republic and shall continue to hold the office of President in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. This means that when the Constitution comes into effect before the 2021 election, the incumbent, that's President Adama Barrow, can only run in 2021, but not in future elections. However, the Standard has learned that when the initial draft was issued for public reaction, the Cabinet had expressed concern that some sections of the new draft Constitution are retroactively discriminatory. So according to the Standard, while the government fully endorses Section 100 on the term of the office of the President, it is government's considered view that Section 5 of the Schedule 3 is retroactively discriminatory in its effect because it only affects and is intended to only affect the incumbent President. Cabinet observed in a paper seen by the Standard. Government allays fears that airport might reopen in June. There are growing concern among Gambians as to whether the Gambia government will consider reopening the airport in June after reports that a top tour operator is selling tickets to Banjul from UK for June 23. Gambians who claim that they have got emails about the ticket sales strongly warn the government never to open the airport to COVID-19 hotspots like the UK. But according to the Standard, they are saying that they contacted the Tourism Minister Ahmad N.K. Bah, who is a member of the Cabinet Emergency Committee on COVID-19 pandemic. He said the Gambia's airport will remain closed and there is no time frame for reopening, depending on the situation of the coronavirus pandemic in the country. Let's see what the point is saying now. They are reporting that Gambia gets 2 new cases of COVID-19. Gambia not among EU blacklist countries. Simon A. Mari donates food items to EFSTH, that's the hospital there in Banjul. Low turnout to immunization centers can lead to outbreak of EU support to foster investments in culture, creative arts and sport. So according to the point, Buba Dabo Program Manager, Directorate of Public Health Education and Promotion at the Ministry of Health told journalists in the daily press briefing yesterday that the country has registered 2 new laboratory cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number actually in the country to 22. Gambia not among EU blacklist countries. The point can confirm that the Gambia is not among the countries recently blacklisted by the European Union for allegedly violating anti-money laundering and terrorism financing rules. Few days ago, certain West African countries were blacklisted or about to be barred, prompting unverified conversation regarding Banjul's status that resulted into an inquiry by this correspondent, that is by the point correspondent. Nevertheless, the European Commission, after careful consideration, added 4 African countries, Ghana, Mauritius, Uganda, and Botswana, to a new list of states to that effect. So Senegal confirms 177 new cases of COVID-19. Senegal Ministry of Health yesterday reported 177 positive new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number to 1,886 there. That is it for the papers. We will be right back. So today, large crowds formed near a car that went into flames in Brikama, coming off as a shocking disregard of the social distancing guideline by WHO regarding or amid the coronavirus pandemic there. So let's take a listen to what happened, the drama that took place in Brikama today.
The fact that people could be seen forming such crowds in these dangerous times presents fresh challenges for the government in its efforts at containing a spread of COVID-19 in the country. Firefighters later arrived at the scene, but they came under attack from the people who claimed to have made several calls out to them, but to no avail. The scenes come as a huge fire tore into Brikama market early Tuesday morning. According to bystanders, a man with a woman and a child were in a Volvo vehicle which had smoke emanating from it. Out of concern due to the smoke, he stopped the car, exited it with the lady and the child, and it was about 2 minutes later that the car caught fire. Victims and even bystanders spoke to the Fatu network.
Some minutes past 11. And the fire service not at 12:08. Yeah.
Mudi Wangam reporting for the Fatu Network's News Review.
I am Ronald Senghor.
Fantasise.
I am Jenovan.
Welcome to the After Ramadan Show. Stand the chance of winning millions of dollars.
All you have to do is call or SMS 1010
For $3 only.
Excitement.
Numbers.
Big surprises.
Watch us live on GRTS every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 9 p.m.
And listen to us on Afri Radio and all other major radio stations.
Stay home and stay safe.
Share the Ramadan with us and participate.
Because with AfriCell, you're always a winner.
So early Tuesday, that's the early hours of Tuesday, a huge fire tore into parts of the Brikama market there. The destruction is still yet to be, the amount of destruction there is still yet to be determined. Dr. Ismail Asisa was in Brikama, his hometown actually, to get a first-hand account of the fire incident there. Doc, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Lamin.
Doc, you were there. What did you see?
Well, what I saw was devastation. What I saw was sorrow. it's a big tragedy. I think apart from the fact that most of the people who are victims are young people, youths, mostly backway youths, backway returnees, who were forced to come home after a failed journey in search of greener pastures. They don't want to sit at home and do nothing. They are engaging in petty trading, selling second-hand clothing. These are the ones who are mostly affected. But I think at a more broader context, I think we have to look at this. We need to start igniting a debate on health and safety in this country. When I went to the market today, I was like, okay, even though it's a tragedy, but that was a luck. I mean, you have to understand that in Brikama, the health center is being surrounded by the market. And this incident happened just right opposite the health center. It could have gotten worse had it not been the help of, people who were there to put the fire off. It could have really caught, the health center could have really caught fire. And people are admitted there. We have women at the maternity ward, and it could have really been worse. So I think it's time for us to really think about health and safety. When I go around, in fact, this is not the first time, in fact, Brikama market. This is, I don't know, we've stopped counting. But not only Brikama, recently we saw what happened in Basse. And what is more painful is that no investigation has been done to ascertain the cause of these fires. And if we don't know why they happen, we cannot intervene to prevent them from happening. Always, whenever it happens, governments, even previous government, will investigate. Nobody has laid hand on ready invest to say this is why. And we need to know, is it because of arson? Is it because of the way we are wiring our buildings? Is it because of carelessness? What do we need to do? We need to stop this. This cannot continue happening. And I think it's time for us to come up with robust laws and mechanisms to protect Gambians. I mean, when I go around and see people building homes in this country, I feel scared. See, there's a balance between security and safety. There are people who build homes, they put burglar proofs all the way right to the 3rd floor. The only exit they have is the main entrance. If this is the place where the fire is coming, you cannot escape. So I think it's time for us to think broadly about health and safety in this country. For now, it is very lacking.
When you get to Brikama, like, what were you hearing? What were the people saying in terms of the destruction and how, in fact, the fire started?
I mean, obviously, they said, there is the building just behind where the fire started. It's not some nurses who live there. According to reports, it's not verified yet. It was a nurse who tried to put some fire on last night, and then that is what triggered the fire. But people are disappointed. But then what I saw also is that these are boys who've invested everything they have in this business, and there is no insurance policy. So it means that it's zero. I think all they are looking for now is support from Gambians or from the government or from the area council to support them get their businesses back. But they're also disappointed with the fire service, because you have to understand that since independence, the Gambia has not acquired one fire engine. All fire engines this country have currently in all the fire stations, it's been bought before independence. It means we have a decrepit and ill-equipped fire service infrastructure in this country. And it's very important that the government really starts investing in the fire services, providing training, providing equipment, so that they can save lives. And I think they were disappointed that when the fire engine came, the one engine came, the other engine was broken down, and there was no water. They had to go and fetch water. People had to really put the fire off.
Yeah, because I spoke with the spokesman there of the fire service earlier today, and what he did confirm to me that the fire engine at the Brikama station is not working. So they had to activate the one in Serakunda.
Exactly, and that's a tragedy. I mean, look at Brikama today. Brikama has a population of over, the whole of West Coast depends on that fire station. And Brikama has grown so exponentially over the past couple of years population-wide. So you have, how can you have a fire service serving that amount of population with no fire engine working? I think that alone it's a tragedy on its own.
Doug, thank you for coming. Thank you very much. So coming up, the big interview with Hamad Ba. We'll be right back.
TAF Africa Global is proud to launch the Moria Gardens, conveniently located in Bruford, 5 minutes off the Bruford Highway. Moria Gardens is set to comprise of 20 fenced and gated service plots with sizes ranging from 264 to 420 meters square. Unique features include water and electricity infrastructure, solar street lights, all-weather roads and scenic gardens. We offer a 10-year mortgage plan with a 25% equity down payment in partnership with GT Bank, Trust Bank, and Eco Bank. For more information, please contact 376-2333 or 776-2333 or visit our offices at Madiba Mall at Taft Bruford Gardens, opposite 5-Star Hotel.
Thank you. This is a very special interview with Mr. Amat N.K. Ba, the Minister of Tourism and Culture. So this interview would largely center on the tourism sector vis-a-vis the coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Ba also is a political leader. We'll also at some point talk about some events, some of course issues that are of great public interest there. Honorable Ba, thank you for accepting to speak to the Fatu Network.
Thank you, Mr. Njai. And you're welcome to this ministry.
Thank you.
Yes.
Honorable, the tourism industry or the tourism sector is a key sector of the Gambian economy. But what clearly has happened is that it has been ravaged by the coronavirus pandemic tearing through the world. Can you tell us how serious is the impact of COVID-19 on this sector?
It is something that you cannot quantify as we speak, because it is unpredictable and we don't know when it's going to end. And unfortunately in the Gambia, we don't have domestic tourism. Our tourists are mostly imported from overseas. As a result of that, our industry is totally ground zero, complete down to ground zero. And we cannot tell you when we're going to start again, because we cannot know when COVID-19 would end. It is unpredictable. It is one of the most threatening, most dangerous situations this country has ever faced, the Gambia and the world at large, beyond the Gambia. And that's why it is a concern, and a serious concern, of something that beyond our imagination. Yes, it is dangerous, a dangerous situation.
This is a sector which contributes as much as 20–25% of our GDP, and there are claims in some quotas there that at least $100 million would be lost to the economy due to the pandemic.
I think, to be honest with you, nobody can quantify the losses, because you cannot predict when is tourism coming back again. That's where the position is. You can just assume what figure you may have, and that's what you can do. But to tell us as to how much it's going to cost this country for now, nobody can tell you that. Move on. Would not be what it is, because the tourists come and make the 200 and something thousand tourists who comes here, at least minimum, each and every one of them will make a call a day. Minimum, basic minimum, one simple call a day. And if you go through agriculture, they also consume or produce some of the things that the meat, the rest of the things that they supply them. So the farmer there, right now we have problem of our onions. Our women gardeners have their onions. We have over 600 tons of onion to be bought. And if the hotels were open, they would have consumed part of that. Unfortunately, tourism is not for now. And then, of course, the other people who have been benefiting in the field of arts and culture. A lot of groups were involved, artists were participating in contracts, the media. People also had contracts with the hotels and other institutions. All that is gone. And then people are left with no job and with a very bleak future. So it is a difficult situation for us as a government and indeed as a country at large, generally.
I know this crisis, nobody really saw it coming there. But talk to us now about the government response there. You are the Minister of Tourism and Culture. Talk to us about the response on the part of the government.
Well, government is working very hard to try to see how best it can mitigate some of the problems that the industry is facing, because we'll do our very best to protect it. We are a responsible government. When the Ebola came, there was a government. They did nothing, absolutely nothing to the industry. It was devastated. This unpredictable situation is happening to the industry. This government is working round the clock to make sure that it intervenes, supports all the stakeholders within the tourism sector. It is not only about hoteliers. Tourism goes beyond hoteliers.
Yes.
The market vendors, taxi drivers, restaurant owners, casinos, beach bar owners, and other players who are in it are all part of the tourism sector. All of them must be captured, and all of them must be taken on board. We have got a holistic view. We've looked at it generally. We're now trying to see how we can intervene gradually, and we have taken some decisions on some of these issues, and the pronouncement will be made.
But then can you talk to us a little bit about the specifics there, the response in terms of some of the actions that you've taken offsetting the pain? Because clearly, I mean, stakeholders in this sector are going through a lot. There's a lot of suffering as a result of this crisis. Can you tell us about some of the things that you've rolled out as a way of offsetting some of the pain that you're going through?
We gathered the entire tourism fraternity and had a discussion with them. Prior to that, this ministry have initiated an evaluation assessment, immediate assessment of the immediate impact, not the long-term impact of the COVID-19 on the tourism sector, together with the Ministry of Finance. That was escalated to some other stakeholders, and that again went through. Even the UN agency, UNDP, was involved. And we computed a lot of other figures, and government is looking into it as we speak now. But I'm not the person who can make the declaration of the action. That is the pronouncement. Who
is the person?
The president will make the pronouncement. He will make the pronouncement at the right time. We know that there is pressure, but we don't want to be pushed. We want to make sure we get to where we are going and do what we can do. Remember, these are not resources that we didn't have the resources. We have to also do something, reach out something to get the resources. So something positive will certainly going to happen, and something will be done.
Because I ask you this because there are some accusations out there that stakeholders in the sector have reached out to the government. Yes. Through the Ministry of Course, as a way of meeting you, as a way of government sweeping in to help them in offsetting some of the pain and the suffering that they are going through, but no one has been listening to them.
They have been listening. That's not true. That's a blatant lie. I use the word lie. It is not true. We have listened to them. We are working on the concerns, and we will act. No doubt about that. This is a very responsible government. This is not the previous government that had Ebola and did not do anything. Maybe they were in that government and they thought that what happened in Ebola is what would happen this time round. We will do what we have to do, and we'll do what we can do, and we will support the industry for the good of Gambia. Not for individuals, but for the good of this country, because we know the importance of the industry. We know the number of jobs it creates. We know its contribution to GDP. We know its contribution to the economy in general, and we know how much Gambians are benefiting. There is no other replacement of the tourism sector in our economy. Absolutely not.
I know one thing that clearly stakeholders or industry players are looking for from the government has to be the issue of a stimulus or relief package. Do you have that in your plan?
Yes. When we met the stakeholders, they came out with 7-8 different issues they requested. We are aware of that. It's not an ownership of a particular association. This was something that they worked out with this government, and I'm sure my officials were at that meeting. So somebody cannot take ownership of what person belongs to you. These are statistics of the government of the Gambia. And they start with them, they came out with a request. And that request at the moment is on our desk, and we are working towards trying to see what we can make up for stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And as I tell you, we have gone too far, And very soon, inshallah, there will be pronouncement on some of those issues, what government have decided, and what government is going to do.
I know you don't want to divulge what the government is going to do in that respect, but can you tell us, the stakeholders, what is their request?
Well, they talked about supporting salaries, supporting them on energy, some of their loans in the banks, you know, interest on loans, loan deductions, and, you know, supporting their operations, different issues they mentioned. But we've taken it, we've looked at it, we'll work on it state by state. Remember, our biggest concern today is containing this disease. You talked about existing, so you talked about hotel industry, tourism industry, when you are alive. And this is a very dangerous killer disease that everybody must work towards containing. Therefore, government is committing its resources towards that. But notwithstanding all that, government also is aware of the importance of this sector. And indeed, government will do something. I'm confirming to you that very soon, government will be. You
are saying very soon, but can you give us an idea as to when do you plan on or intend on swinging into action? Because clearly, people are going through a lot of
We will swing into action very soon, inshallah.
When is very soon?
Very soon means very soon. It explains itself. Not too long.
Not too long.
Yes.
Now, let us talk about the overall government response to this. You said it's a very serious crisis. The overall government response there, you talked about the immediate past government that Ebola came and it didn't do nothing. But your government stands charged with deterring this crisis when it was coming. As soon as cases started being confirmed in Senegal, there were calls for this government to swing into action by way of, for example, closing the borders. But what happened is your action came when coronavirus entered the country. So your overall government response, what do you make of it?
I totally disagree with you, with all due respect. This government was one of the first governments in Africa to close its borders.
But this happened only after we had a case.
Because then you will not justify it, because closing the border have some international implications. You cannot just wake up and close your border. It has some international implication, international protocols. The right to transit from one border to another one. You understand? So it has some international implication. You couldn't have closed your border without having a case to prove that you are under threat and that you close your border. And we did it. The first country, one of the first countries in Africa to close its borders was the Gambia. And I think the whole world commended the Gambia for that. And indeed, many Gambians praised this government for taking the bold decision of closing the border, land border, air border, and make sure that this country is safe. And I think, looking at the cases, they are all imported cases. 90% of all the cases are imported or imported.
That is where the problem lies.
No, I'm coming. You know why? When we close the border, citizens, foreign nationals, we have an international obligation on us to let their governments take them out of the country. We cannot refuse that. And it's obligatory on us also to take on board our citizens who are returning to this country. They are Gambians. And when this announcement was done, they came in a rush to this country to come back to their motherland. And unfortunately, some of them were not nationalistically enough to accept being quarantined. They disappeared within our midst.
Whose fault is that?
I'm coming. It is their fault. It is their fault. It is their fault. They should believe in their country. They should have nationalistic sentiment in preserving and protecting their own fellow citizens. Their first responsibility Their first responsibility was to protect their own country and themselves and subject themselves to the rules of this country and submit themselves to the health authorities and be quarantined. Some of them did not do that. Some did. Some didn't. And those who didn't, you see what happened. You cannot blame the government for that. We expect that citizens must believe and love their country, must have a sense of responsibility also to protect their country and their fellow countrymen and women. That is not the role of government. That's the role of an individual citizen. And then the other cases you saw, people that we are arresting across our border, our porous borders. Being quarantined, you see the numbers. Gambians are not mobile. Gambians don't move a lot. We must accept this. Gambians have been very patient. They have submitted themselves, they have comported themselves to the best of their ability. Those who live in this country. The problem we are facing with is people who are coming outside, getting into us, bringing this disease to us. Some of them are our own countrymen and women. They could have avoided that. So we could not have declared closure of this country's border if we don't have a case. We couldn't do that.
So a case